What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to a new deck profile featured on the YGO Mega Beta. Ghost from the Past is now officially out in the TCG and there are a lot of good archetypes to get into. For now, I decided to start things off with an easy deck that probably won't see much competitive value, but it is kind of fun at times. Holy Knights unfortunately had a TCG name change to Starry Knights, which I don't prefer, but the deck is meant to be an actual archetype for one of the oldest vanilla monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh!, Starry. Sadly, the name change also changed his name from Radiant Starry to Starry Knight, Starry Dragon, but I will still be calling him Starry in the video, so deal with that. Starting off with him, he is the focus of the deck, being a level 7 light dragon monster that can pop a card when he is special summoned from the hand. Sadly, this does require setup from your Starry Knight monsters and spells and traps, as most of them have an effect to special summon a level 7 light dragon from the hand, which we will get into later. He is also immune to being destroyed by dark monsters entirely, which is a decent protection effect for a very common attribute to see. At the start of the damage step, he can banish an opponent's monster until the end phase, and then attack again, which can help with damage pushes. Like I said, he is the focus of the deck, so you want to make use of his card popping effect more than the other two by summoning him and bouncing him back to the hand. Supporting Starry, we have the Starry Knights, who are all light level 4 fairies. Thanks to this, we are using Ties of the Brethren with Barrier Statue of the Heavens, and Honest, as we will not be going into the extra deck as frequent. Ciel unfortunately did not make it into the TCG, so he is in this list only because I didn't realize they were leaving a card out. He pretty much helps getting Starry back to the hand like we spoke about, so he isn't too mandatory for right now if you want to play strict TCG, but it's still something to look forward to. All of the other knights are in the TCG now though, thankfully, so moving on to Astel, he's a simple way to summon Starry via tributing himself or another light monster. If you don't have a spell or trap card that can do the same, I would prioritize getting him out, as we want to set up Starry as much as possible to disrupt the opponent. I didn't use Flamel's battle step effect, but I did recover Starry sometimes with it in the grave, so it did work out in some situations. Last but not least, we have Rayel, the searcher of the deck, and the only knight at 3 copies for that reason. If you can get this plus Ties of the Brethren, you are in a good spot for the most part, unless of course you can get another spell or trap to minimize your needed pieces. Barrier Statue is an amazing floodgate after Ties of the Brethren if you have your full combo as well. If your opponent tries to normal summon and run over it and you have a way to summon Starry, you're pretty much set. Honest also works well in protecting Starry or Barrier Statue from destruction if you want to risk leaving it in attack mode. I did play this deck in OCG format before it was released in the TCG, so I did try out some things that we do not have yet, unfortunately. One of these fun options included another level 7 light dragon, Heavenly Radiance Bahartiya. On your opponent's turn, you can easily summon it with our Starry Knight support, or its own effect to disrupt their hand in any searches that they may have conducted, which works out pretty decently. Another potential level 7 light dragon I did see was Archbrave Dragon, but I didn't see much synergy as given its heavy reliance on the graveyard. Onto the spells, the standard Joan and Joe special along with Prosperity, since we aren't relying on the extra deck too much and need to see specific cards ASAP. Ties of the Brethren prevents you from conducting your battle phase or special summoning after it, so it is best used going first, but sadly it isn't always the case, so try to remember its drawbacks. The first Starry Knight spell is Balefire, which searches a Starry Knight or a level 7 light dragon monster. It also combos into a free special summon if your opponent has a dark monster, but that is pretty tough to land sometimes. One of the sad things about Starry is that its name was changed very cleverly to a Starry Knight with an N and not Knight with a K. It isn't considered an actual Knight monster for some cards that may list a specific difference, so pay attention to that. The next continuous spell is Ceremony, which allows you to swap out a light fairy for a level 7 light dragon in the hand. It's very important for the faster access to Starry. On any opponent effect, you can special summon a dragon from the hand, making this one of the best cards you want to see early on for the deck. Now I decided to try some hilarious spice for the deck, and that was Ruins of the Divine Dragon Lords, another continuous spell. This card negates all special summon monsters' effects on the field that were not summoned from the grave, as long as you control a level 7 or 8 dragon monster. This card is kind of funny as it did ruin some opponents for me, but it can also hurt you as well, so it is risky. If you can use this card well, ideally you would summon Starry to pop a card, leave him on the field to negate every monster, and then tag him out whenever necessary to let yourself play the game. It's a pretty fun card to mess with, so it might be cool to fill up one of those seal slots if you want to run more copies. Onto the traps, Starry Knight Blast lets you bounce a level 7 dragon back from your field to the hand to negate an effect. I don't know why they couldn't just make this a counter trap, but whatever. Moving on. Starry Knight Arrival is one of the other cards you want to see, as not only is it a way to summon Starry from the hand, it can also bring it back to the hand. Sadly, this is a trap, but it can also only use one effect per turn out of the 2. Setting this up is still highly recommended, especially if you can combo with Ceremony or Blast. Ice Dragon's Prison was just a random tech slot, but you can easily try something else in those slots. This deck does unfortunately rely on the spell and trap lineup, so it is kinda slow, but if you can get established, it may give some decks an issue. Once again, there's no heavy reliance on the extra deck, but there are moments where you might find a chance to go into a generic Link Monster to help yourself out of a bad spot, or to get your Starry Knights into the grave to trigger their secondary effects. Rayel can also revive other Knights from the grave for extra materials if you want to build up to something decent, but besides that, standard rank 4s and Link Monsters work best. Rank 7s may come up, but there is a very small chance, so I wouldn't count on it. In the side deck, there are a couple of other options you can run, like running Extravagance alongside Prosperity, or Summon Limit since the deck doesn't need to make too many summons in one turn. There's also a field spell Starry Night Sky, but I didn't get to try it out. Once again, it may be worth a slot or two in the TCG now since Ciel isn't released yet. This deck isn't too complicated to try and show off. You set your back row cards or search them with your Starry Knights and then get to summon in Sayaryu on your opponent's turn or whenever they have cards to pop. I did get Ruin here so you can see how that works, and I left Flamel in the hand since I have the fake counter trap Blast to bounce Sayaryu back to summon it again with his effect on attack declaration. Sayaryu is not once per turn for card pop, so if you have a way to summon it from the hand multiple times, it can get pretty annoying. Our opponent is playing Laval, so Ruin does come in handy here, as if Rekindling was a thing, Sayaryu would never be able to pop enough cards to stop the turn completely. After seeing our opponent get stopped entirely, I know all I have to do is flow Sayaryu back and forth with the trap card to continue the disruption. It seems slow, as with the right card or combo our opponent can break through and we barely have resources to recover with. Flamel in the grave does get Sayaryu back to the hand if it is destroyed, but if the spell and trap card combo is broken, summoning it again will be difficult. The strategy is also weak against things immune to destruction or targeting, but in those scenarios you can only hope for Sayaryu's battle effect to come into play. All in all, this is a tough deck to play and it will probably struggle more often than not. Part of the reason I did try this out was for the nostalgia factor, but until the deck gets supported, we'll continue to have a tough time against certain decks. That is going to be it for me. I will be getting to more decks featured in the Ghosts from the Past box, so stay tuned for that. Also, make sure to catch the stream Sundays and Mondays at 8 PM on Twitch. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and give me more ideas of what you guys want to see next. I'll catch you next time.